Some people do not need your phone number, your attention, or your presence to continue hurting you. They only need a permanent place inside your mind. Every time you replay the betrayal, check their life, imagine their apology, or hope they finally understand your value, you give them another day of power over you. They may be gone, but they are still deciding whether you feel peaceful or broken. Enough is enough. Buddhism teaches that a thought only controls you when you continue feeding it. Today, you will learn how to stop feeding the memories, release the attachment, and remove people who no longer deserve to live inside your head. 1. Accept that the person in your mind no longer exists. You may not miss the person as they truly are. You may miss the person they used to be, or the person you hoped they would become. Your mind remembers the good moments and ignores the painful truth. Buddhism teaches that everything changes. People, feelings, and relationships do not remain the same forever. The version of them inside your mind may no longer exist in reality. Stop waiting for their old version to return. Accept what their actions have shown you. Acceptance does not mean their behavior was right. It means you are no longer fighting the truth. See them as they are, not as you wish they were. You cannot find peace while refusing to accept reality. 2. Understand that replaying the pain is a form of self-punishment. Your mind may believe that replaying the past will help you understand what happened. You think about every conversation, every mistake, and every painful moment because you hope to find the exact reason the relationship changed. You may ask yourself what you did wrong, what you should have said, or whether you could have prevented the ending. At first, this may feel like reflection, but after some time, it becomes self-punishment. The painful event happened once, yet your mind keeps bringing it back and making you feel the same sadness, anger, or rejection again. You are not solving the past, you are only reopening the wound. Ask yourself, is this thought teaching me something useful, or is it only making me suffer again? You do not need to understand every reason behind someone's behavior. Some people hurt others because they are selfish, confused, emotionally immature, or unable to value sincere love. Learn what the experience taught you, but do not keep living inside it. They may have hurt you once, but you do not have to continue hurting yourself by replaying the memory. 3. Stop giving meaning to their silence. When someone becomes distant or suddenly stops talking to you, your mind may start creating many explanations. You may wonder if they still miss you, if they are waiting for you to contact them, or if their silence secretly means they still care. But their silence may simply mean they have chosen not to be part of your life. Do not turn their absence into a mystery that keeps you trapped. The more meaning you give to their silence, the more power you give them over your thoughts. Their distance does not mean you are unworthy or difficult to love. Sometimes people leave because they are confused, emotionally unavailable, or unwilling to give the effort a healthy relationship needs. When someone truly values you, you do not need to search for hidden signs. Their care will appear through respect, honesty, effort, and consistency. Let their actions give you the answer their words could not. Do not keep waiting for a message that may never come. Accept the silence, protect your peace, and move forward. 4. Remove the habits that keep bringing them back. You cannot stop thinking about someone while continuing to follow their life. You may check their social media, reread old messages, look at their pictures, listen to songs connected to them, or ask other people what they are doing. Each time you do this, you bring them back into your mind. You may tell yourself that you are only curious, but curiosity can become a habit that keeps the attachment alive. Even one small check can disturb your peace for the rest of the day. You may see something you do not understand, then your mind begins creating stories, questions, and painful possibilities. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes stronger in the direction of its attention. Whatever you repeatedly focus on becomes easier to remember. When you keep looking at their life, your mind continues treating them as important, even though they no longer deserve your energy. Healing requires more than saying, "I want to move on." It also requires changing the habits that keep pulling you backward. Delete the old messages you read when you feel lonely. Remove the pictures that make you return to the same painful memories. Stop visiting their profile just to see whether they have changed, moved on, or found someone new. This may feel difficult at first because your mind is used to searching for them. You may feel restless, curious, or tempted to check again. That does not mean you should return. It simply means you are breaking a habit that has become emotionally familiar. Do not test your healing by looking at them again. You do not need to prove that you are strong enough to see their life without feeling pain. Real strength is choosing not to disturb your peace for unnecessary information. You would not keep touching a physical wound and expect it to heal. In the same way, you cannot keep reopening emotional wounds and expect your heart to recover. Distance is not cruelty. Distance is sometimes the kindest thing you can give yourself. You do not need to know who they are talking to, where they are going, or whether they regret losing you. Their life is no longer your responsibility. Every moment you spend watching them is a moment taken away from your own growth. Replace the old habit with something better. When you feel the urge to check on them, go for a walk, read a few pages, write down your thoughts, call someone peaceful, or focus on something that helps you grow. Slowly, your mind will learn a new direction. The goal is not to pretend they never existed. The goal is to stop feeding the connection that keeps them alive inside your mind. When you stop checking, rereading, and searching, the attachment begins to weaken. Protect your attention, because your attention shapes your inner world. Give it to your healing, your future, and the life you are trying to build. The less you return to them, the more you return to yourself. 5. Stop waiting for them to regret losing you. A hidden part of you may still be waiting for the day they finally understand your value. You may imagine them thinking about you, missing you, or realizing that losing you was one of the biggest mistakes of their life. You may hope they return with an apology and admit that they treated you badly. This hope can keep you emotionally connected to someone who is no longer part of your life. You may believe you have moved on, but deep inside, you are still waiting for their regret to prove that you mattered. Buddhism teaches that suffering grows when we become attached to a certain outcome. You want them to feel sorry. You want them to miss you. You want them to see how valuable you were. But you cannot control what another person thinks, feels, or understands. They may never apologize. They may never admit what they did. They may continue living as if nothing happened. This may feel unfair, but your peace cannot depend on their awareness. When your healing depends on their regret, they still have power over you. You are still waiting for them to give you something before you allow yourself to move forward. You are waiting for their apology, their sadness, or their return to make you feel complete. But real healing begins when you no longer need anything from them. You do not need their apology to know that you were hurt. You do not need their regret to know that you were valuable. You do not need them to return to prove that your love was real. Sometimes people lose something good and still do not understand its value. Some people are too proud to admit their mistakes. Others are emotionally immature and continue blaming everyone except themselves. Their lack of understanding does not reduce your worth. Do not spend your life hoping that pain will teach them what your love could not. Their lesson belongs to them. Your healing belongs to you. You may also feel tempted to improve your life only to make them regret leaving. You want to become more successful, more attractive, more confident, or happier so they can see what they lost. This may motivate you for a short time, but it still keeps them at the center of your life. Your growth should not be a message for someone who hurt you. Your success should not be revenge. Your happiness should not be a performance designed to make someone jealous. Build a better life because you deserve one. Heal because you are tired of carrying pain. Become stronger because your future needs your strength, not because your past needs proof. Ask yourself honestly, Would I still want this life if they never saw it? If the answer is yes, then you are finally building something for yourself. Buddhism teaches that freedom comes when we stop asking the past to return and repair what it broke. Some endings will never come with a perfect explanation. Some wounds will never receive the apology they deserve. You must still decide that your peace is more important than waiting. Stop imagining the day they come back. Stop creating conversations where they finally understand everything. These imaginary moments may feel comforting, but they keep you connected to a future that may never happen. Bring your attention back to what is real. You are here. Your life is still moving. Your future is waiting. Every day you spend hoping they regret losing you is another day you are not fully choosing yourself. Their regret is not your reward. Your freedom is. The most powerful moment is not when they return and admit they were wrong. It is when they return and you no longer need their apology. It is when they see your growth, but their opinion no longer changes how you feel about yourself. Real healing is quiet. It does not ask anyone to notice. It does not need to prove anything. It simply allows you to move forward without carrying the person who hurt you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them believe whatever they want. Let them live with the choices they made. You do not have to stand still until they finally understand your value. Your worth was never created by their love, and it was never destroyed by their rejection. You were valuable before they entered your life, while they were part of it, and after they left. Stop waiting for them to regret losing you. Start becoming grateful that you no longer have to lose yourself trying to be valued by them. The moment you stop needing their regret, you take your power back. You stop living for their reaction and begin living for your own peace. That is when they truly leave your mind. Not when they forget you, but when you stop needing them to remember. 6. Fill the empty space with a new life. Sometimes you keep thinking about someone not because they still belong in your life, but because you have not yet created anything new to replace the space they left behind. They were once part of your daily routine, your thoughts, your plans, and your emotions. When they leave, the person is gone, but the space remains. Your mind returns to them because it does not yet know what else to do with that empty space. You may wake up and remember the messages you once received from them. You may hear a song and think about a moment you shared. You may pass a familiar place and feel the pain return. You may even reach for your phone because checking on them used to be part of your daily habit. These moments can make you believe that you still need the person, but sometimes you are simply missing the routine that was connected to them. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes attached not only to people but also to patterns. When the same person becomes part of your life every day, your mind begins to expect their presence. Even when the relationship was painful, the mind may still miss what was familiar. Familiar pain can sometimes feel safer than an unfamiliar future. This is why moving forward can feel uncomfortable. You are not only releasing a person, you are also releasing old habits, expectations, dreams, conversations, and the version of yourself that existed around them. Your life may suddenly feel quiet, empty, or without direction. But emptiness is not always a punishment. Sometimes emptiness is an open space where a new life can begin. You do not need to fill this space with another person immediately. Many people make this mistake. They feel lonely, so they search for someone new before they have fully healed. They hope a new relationship will silence the memories of the old one. But when you use another person to escape your pain, you carry the unhealed wound into the new connection. The goal is not to replace them with someone else. The goal is to rebuild the parts of your life that you neglected while thinking about them. Perhaps you stopped doing things you enjoyed because so much of your attention was focused on the relationship. Perhaps you became disconnected from your own goals, friends, health, or personal growth. You may have spent so much time worrying about their feelings that you stopped asking yourself what you needed. Now you have the opportunity to return to yourself. Start by looking at your daily routine. Notice the moments when your mind usually returns to them. It may happen early in the morning, late at night, while you are alone, or when you feel stressed. These are the moments when you need to give your mind a new direction. If mornings remind you of them, create a new morning routine. Get out of bed without checking your phone, drink water, open the window, stretch your body, and sit quietly for a few minutes. Read something that gives you strength. Write down one thing you want to complete that day. Let the morning belong to you again. If nights are difficult, stop using silence as a place to replay the past. Read a calming book, listen to peaceful teachings, write down your thoughts, or practice slow breathing. Your mind needs a safe way to end the day without returning to the same memories. Small routines may not seem powerful at first, but repeated actions slowly create a new life. Every healthy habit tells your mind that the future is becoming more important than the past. Buddhism teaches us to return to the present moment. This does not mean pretending the past never happened. It means recognizing that the past is not happening now. The painful conversation is over. The rejection has already happened. The person is not standing in front of you. What remains is a thought, a memory, or a feeling passing through your mind. When the memory appears, do not fight it with anger. Fighting a thought often gives it more power. Simply notice it. Say to yourself, "This is a memory. It is not my present life." Take a breath and bring your attention back to what is in front of you. Look around the room. Notice the light, the sounds, your breathing, and the ground beneath your feet. The present moment may seem simple, but it is the only place where healing can happen. You cannot heal inside yesterday because yesterday no longer exists. You cannot build peace inside an imagined future because it has not arrived. You can only take care of your life in this moment. Begin giving your attention to things that help you grow. Read books that strengthen your mind. Learn a useful skill. Exercise your body. Spend time outside. Clean your room. Improve your work. Prepare healthy food. Complete the responsibilities you have been avoiding. These actions may feel ordinary, but they rebuild your self-respect. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you become less dependent on the person who disappointed you. You begin to see that your life can still move without them. Do not wait to feel motivated before you begin. Motivation may be weak when you are healing. Start with small actions, even when your heart is heavy. Walk for 10 minutes. Read 2 pages. Clean one corner of your room. Finish one simple task. A new life is not created in one dramatic moment. It is created through small choices repeated every day. You should also reconnect with the parts of yourself that existed before the relationship. Think about what once made you feel alive. What did you enjoy before this person became the center of your attention? What dreams did you delay? What interests did you forget? What places did you want to visit? What kind of person did you want to become? Return to those parts of yourself. Perhaps you once enjoyed drawing, writing, reading, cooking, gardening, learning languages, walking in nature, or spending time with family. Begin again without judging yourself for stopping. You are not starting from nothing. You are returning to yourself with more experience and wisdom. Do not be afraid if the new life feels strange at first. The mind often prefers what is familiar, even when what is familiar causes pain. A peaceful routine may initially feel empty because your nervous system became used to confusion, waiting, arguments, or emotional highs and lows. You may mistake peace for boredom because chaos once made you feel emotionally alive. Give yourself time to adjust. Peace becomes beautiful when you stop expecting pain to interrupt it. Be careful not to build your new life only to prove something to the person who left. Do not exercise only because you want them to see your transformation. Do not become successful only because you want them to regret losing you. Do not post your happiness only because you hope they are watching. When your growth is still directed toward their attention, they remain at the center of your life. Build quietly. Heal honestly. Let your progress become something you experience, not something you perform. Ask yourself, Would I still want this new life if they never saw it? If the answer is yes, you are moving in the right direction. Your healing should make you more connected to yourself, not more focused on their reaction. You also need meaningful goals. Without direction, the mind often wanders back toward old pain. A clear goal gives your attention somewhere useful to go. It does not need to be a huge goal. It can be improving your health, learning a skill, saving money, reading more books, building a project, or creating a peaceful home. Choose one goal that matters to you and take one small step toward it every day. When your mind returns to them, gently return to your goal. Do not use the goal to hide your emotions, but use it to remind yourself that your life is still moving. The past may have taken some of your time, but it does not own the rest of your future. Spend time with people who bring peace instead of confusion. Healthy people do not make you constantly question your value. They do not make you chase basic respect. They do not disappear to punish you or return only when they need attention. Good relationships feel steady. They allow you to be yourself. They do not require you to abandon your peace to keep the connection. You may have become so used to painful relationships that kindness feels unfamiliar. Learn to recognize people who are consistent, honest, and emotionally safe. You do not need many people around you. Even one peaceful friend can remind you that connection does not always need to hurt. At the same time, learn to enjoy your own company. Being alone does not mean you are unwanted. It means you have space to hear your own thoughts, understand your needs, and become comfortable with yourself. Take yourself outside, sit in a quiet cafe, walk through a park, visit a bookstore, watch the sunset, eat a meal without needing someone beside you. At first, you may feel their absence strongly, but slowly, you will begin noticing your own presence. You will discover that your company can also feel safe. The more comfortable you become with yourself, the less likely you are to return to someone simply because you feel lonely. Loneliness can make old pain look like love. It can make you miss people who repeatedly disrespected you. It can make you remember only the good moments and forget the reasons you had to walk away. When loneliness comes, do not treat it as proof that you made the wrong decision. It is simply a feeling. It will pass if you do not use it as an excuse to return to what harmed you. Buddhism teaches that feelings are temporary. Sadness comes and goes. Longing comes and goes. Even the strongest emotion changes when you stop feeding it. Sit with the feeling without obeying it. You can miss someone and still know they are not right for your life. You can feel lonely and still refuse to return. You can remember the good moments and still accept that the relationship was unhealthy. Two truths can exist at the same time. You can care about what happened and still choose to move forward. Create new memories in places that once reminded you of them. If a certain park, restaurant, road, or song feels connected to the past, do not believe that memory must belong to them forever. Return when you feel ready and create a different experience. Go there with a friend. Take photographs. Listen to new music. Notice things you did not notice before. Let the place become part of your life again, instead of remaining trapped inside one painful chapter. Your world should not become smaller because someone left. Visit new places too. Change your environment when possible. Move your furniture. Clean your room. Remove objects connected to painful memories, and create a space that represents the person you are becoming. Your surroundings affect your mind. A fresh space can remind you that change is possible. You may still have objects, gifts, pictures, or messages connected to them. You do not need to destroy everything in anger, but you should be honest about what keeps reopening the wound. Store it away, delete it, donate it, or remove it from your daily view. You are not erasing your history, you are protecting your present. Some people keep painful reminders because they fear letting go means the relationship meant nothing. But letting go does not remove the meaning. It simply removes the power that meaning has over your daily life. You can honor what you learned without keeping yourself emotionally trapped. Take care of your body during this process. Emotional pain does not live only in your thoughts. It can affect your sleep, appetite, energy, and concentration. You may feel tired even when you have done very little because your mind is using energy to replay the past. Rest properly. Eat nourishing food. Drink enough water. Move your body. Spend time in sunlight. These simple actions support emotional healing more than many people realize. When your body feels stronger, your mind becomes easier to guide. Do not expect yourself to transform overnight. You may have good days when you hardly think about them, followed by a difficult day when the memory feels fresh again. This does not mean you have failed. Healing is not a straight line. Sometimes a song, dream, date, or unexpected reminder will bring the feeling back. Let it pass without turning one difficult moment into a reason to reopen the relationship. A memory returning does not mean the person should return. You are allowed to feel the pain without acting on it. You are allowed to have a weak moment without making a harmful decision. You are allowed to miss them without contacting them. Every time you choose your peace instead of the old habit, you become stronger. Celebrate small signs of progress. Notice when you go several hours without thinking about them. Notice when you hear their name and remain calm. Notice when you resist checking their profile. Notice when you begin enjoying something without wishing they were there. These moments show that your mind is creating new pathways. Do not dismiss your progress just because you are not completely healed. A wound does not need to disappear overnight to prove it is closing. Your life is larger than this person. You may have forgotten that while you were emotionally attached to them, you may have started believing that happiness could only exist if they returned, apologized, or changed. But one person cannot be the entire meaning of your life. There are still conversations you have not had, places you have not visited, goals you have not achieved, books you have not read, skills you have not learned, and people you have not met. There are still peaceful mornings, surprising opportunities, and beautiful moments waiting for you. Do not allow one painful ending to convince you that nothing meaningful remains. The empty space they left is not proof that your life is broken. It is space for growth, wisdom, peace, and something new. Fill that space carefully. Do not fill it with revenge, constant distraction, unhealthy relationships, or the desperate need to prove your worth. Fill it with things that make you respect yourself. Fill it with discipline. Fill it with calm routines. Fill it with meaningful work. Fill it with healthy friendships. Fill it with silence that no longer feels frightening. Fill it with goals that make you excited about tomorrow. Most importantly, fill it with your own presence. For a long time, you may have been emotionally living around another person. Their attention decided whether you felt happy. Their silence decided whether you felt anxious. Their approval decided whether you felt valuable. Now you must learn to become the center of your own life again. This does not mean becoming selfish or uncaring. It means understanding that your peace is also important. Your time matters. Your energy matters. Your future matters. You are not here only to wait for someone to choose you. Choose yourself by building a life that does not collapse when someone leaves. Build routines that support you. Build confidence through action. Build relationships based on mutual respect. Build a purpose greater than one person's presence. One day, you will notice that you are no longer trying to forget them. You are simply too connected to your new life to keep living inside the old one. The memory may still exist, but it will no longer control your day. You will remember without wanting to return. You will understand without needing another conversation. You will accept the ending without believing your life ended with it. That is real freedom. You do not get someone out of your head by forcing yourself never to think about them. You get them out by creating a life that becomes more meaningful than the memory. So do not spend all your energy trying to erase the past. Use that energy to build the future. Wake up and give your mind something worth thinking about. Give your heart something healthy to care for. Give your days a purpose that belongs to you. The person who left created an empty space, but you decide what grows there next. Do not fill it with endless questions. Do not fill it with imaginary conversations. Do not fill it with hope that they will become someone they have already shown they are not. Fill it with a new life, a life where your peace does not depend on someone's attention, a life where you no longer chase people who make you feel uncertain, a life where you know your value without needing anyone to confirm it. The more you build this life, the less power the past will have. Eventually, you will understand that losing them did not empty your life. It gave you the chance to return to yourself. 7. Forgive yourself for holding on too long. One of the hardest parts of healing is not only letting go of the person, it is forgiving yourself for how long you stayed emotionally attached to them. You may look back and feel angry with yourself. You may ask why you ignored the signs, why you accepted so little, why you kept hoping, or why you returned after being hurt. You may believe you should have known better, but this kind of self-judgment does not help you heal. It only adds another wound on top of the pain you already carry. The person may have disappointed you, but now you are also punishing yourself for having cared. You are blaming yourself for loving, trusting, hoping, and trying. Buddhism teaches compassion, but compassion is not only something you offer to other people. You must also learn to offer it to yourself. You cannot create peace while constantly attacking the person you used to be. The version of you who stayed did not have the same understanding you have now. That person was making decisions with the emotions, information, fears, and hopes available at that time. Perhaps you stayed because you believed things would improve. Perhaps they apologized and promised to change. Perhaps you remembered the good moments and hoped those moments would return. Maybe you stayed because you were afraid of being alone. Maybe you believed losing them would hurt more than continuing the relationship. Maybe you had become emotionally dependent on their attention. These reasons do not make you foolish. They show that you are human. When you care about someone, you do not always see the situation clearly. Hope can make you overlook behavior that would seem obvious from the outside. Attachment can make small acts of kindness feel more important than repeated disrespect. You may have known something was wrong, but knowing is not always enough to make leaving easy. People often ask why someone stayed in a painful relationship, but they do not understand how emotional attachment works. You may have been holding on not only to the person, but also to the future you imagined with them. You were not only losing what existed, you were also losing what you hoped could exist. That is why walking away can feel like losing several things at once. You lose the person, the routine, the plans, the hope, and the version of life you had imagined. Do not shame yourself because this was difficult. You may now see the red flags clearly, but they may not have looked the same when you were emotionally involved. At that time, you may have called their inconsistency confusion. You may have called their disrespect stress. You may have called their emotional distance fear. You gave explanations because accepting the truth felt painful. Now you understand more, and that understanding should help you grow, not make you hate your past self. Forgive yourself for ignoring the signs, but also recognize why you ignored them. Perhaps you were taught to work hard for love. Perhaps you believed that being patient would eventually make someone value you. Maybe you thought leaving meant failure. Maybe you believed a good person never gives up on someone they love. But there is a difference between patience and self-abandonment. There is a difference between forgiveness and allowing repeated harm. There is a difference between loving someone and losing yourself to keep them. You understand this more clearly now. Forgiveness does not mean pretending you made no mistakes. It means refusing to punish yourself forever for those mistakes. You can admit that you stayed too long without deciding that you are weak. You can accept that you ignored your needs without believing that you deserve what happened. Taking responsibility should help you move forward. It should not become another form of suffering. You may say, "I should have left the first time they hurt me." But perhaps you were still learning what you would and would not accept. You may say, "I should never have trusted them." But trusting someone is not a crime. The mistake belonged to the person who misused your trust. You may say, "I wasted years of my life," but those years may have taught you lessons that now protect the rest of your future. You cannot return to the past and make a different decision. You can only use what you learned to choose differently now. Buddhism teaches that suffering grows when we fight what cannot be changed. The past cannot be changed. The words were spoken, the choices were made, the pain happened. You can continue arguing with what happened, or you can accept it and use it as wisdom. Acceptance does not erase the pain. It stops you from adding more pain to it. You may also feel embarrassed because you still think about someone who did not treat you well. You may wonder why your heart continues to remember someone your mind knows you should release. But emotions do not follow logic immediately. Your mind may understand the truth before your heart is ready to accept it. This does not mean you are failing. It means different parts of you are healing at different speeds. Do not become impatient with your own heart. You did not create the attachment in one day, so it may not disappear in one day. Memories, habits, and emotional patterns need time to weaken. You may think about them again after believing you had moved on. You may dream about them, miss them, or feel pain when you see something connected to them. Do not use these moments as proof that you are back at the beginning. Healing is not a straight line. It does not always move forward in a perfect way. Some days will feel peaceful. Other days will bring old emotions back. A difficult day does not erase your progress. The goal is not to reach a point where you never remember them. The goal is to reach a point where the memory no longer controls your choices. You may still remember their voice, face, or the moments you shared. Memory is natural. The problem begins when you follow the memory into hours of overthinking, checking, imagining, and hoping. Healing means you notice the thought without giving it your entire day. You can say, "I remember them, but I do not need to return." You can feel sadness without sending a message. You can miss a moment without reopening the relationship. This is emotional strength. At first, the memory may feel powerful. It may pull you into old conversations and painful questions. But each time you notice the thought and choose not to follow it, you weaken the attachment. You teach your mind that remembering does not require action. You do not need to fight the thought. Fighting can make it stronger. Simply observe it like a cloud passing through the sky. A thought comes. A thought stays for a moment. A thought leaves. You are not the thought. You are the person observing it. Buddhism teaches us to watch the mind without becoming controlled by everything that appears inside it. Your mind may say, "Check their profile." You can notice the urge without obeying it. Your mind may say, "Send one message." You can hear the thought and still choose silence. Your mind may say, "Maybe they have changed." You can remember their actions and protect your peace. The presence of a thought does not mean you must follow it. Forgiving yourself also means stopping the habit of comparing your healing to other people. Someone else may seem to move on quickly. They may enter a new relationship, look happy, or appear unaffected. Do not measure your healing against what you see from the outside. People process pain differently. Some people hide it. Some avoid it. Some immediately search for distraction. Others take more time because they are honestly facing what happened. Your healing does not need to look like anyone else's. There is no correct number of days, weeks, or months for letting go. What matters is whether you are moving toward peace instead of feeding the attachment. Even slow progress is progress. Forgive yourself for the moments when you went back. Perhaps you contacted them after promising yourself you would not. Perhaps you checked their social media or reread old messages. Do not use one weak moment as a reason to give up on your healing. Notice what happened. Learn from it. Ask what feeling caused you to return. Were you lonely, bored, anxious, or hoping for reassurance? Understanding the trigger helps you prepare for the next time. You are not required to be perfect to heal. You only need to become more aware. Every mistake can become a lesson if you stop using it as a weapon against yourself. You may also feel guilty for still caring. Part of you may believe that caring means you want them back, but these are not always the same thing. You can care about someone and still know they are not healthy for you. You can wish them well from a distance. You can appreciate the good moments without returning to the harmful parts. Letting go does not require hatred. Hatred can keep you connected as strongly as love. When you hate someone, you may still think about them constantly. You may imagine revenge, arguments, or the day they suffer for what they did. This is still attachment. Real freedom arrives when you no longer need to love or hate them. You simply accept that they were part of your life, they taught you something, and their place in your story has ended. Forgive yourself for wanting closure from them. You may have believed one final conversation would help you understand everything. You may have waited for an honest explanation, a sincere apology, or a clear answer. But sometimes people cannot give closure because they do not fully understand their own behavior. Sometimes they know the truth, but refuse to admit it. Waiting for them to explain the pain may keep you trapped for years. You may need to create your own closure. Your closure can be the moment you accept that their actions gave you the answer. Their inconsistency was an answer. Their silence was an answer. Their repeated disrespect was an answer. You do not need another conversation to understand that you deserve better. Forgive yourself for asking for answers from someone who only gave you confusion. You were trying to make sense of something painful. That was natural. But now you can stop asking the person who created the wound to teach you how to heal it. Your healing belongs to you. Forgive yourself for believing their promises. You wanted to believe them because you cared. You hoped their words would become actions. There is no shame in wanting someone to become better. The lesson is to judge people by repeated actions, not by beautiful promises. Words can create hope, but actions reveal truth. Carry this wisdom forward without becoming cold. Do not allow one dishonest person to destroy your ability to trust everyone. The goal is not to close your heart forever. The goal is to become wiser about who receives access to it. Forgive yourself for shrinking to keep the relationship. Maybe you became quieter because your feelings caused conflict. Maybe you stopped expressing your needs because you feared they would leave. Perhaps you accepted behavior you once promised yourself you would never tolerate. You may have abandoned your boundaries because you were desperate to save the connection. Do not hate yourself for this. Recognize it, learn from it, and promise yourself that you will not disappear inside another relationship again. You deserve connections where you can speak honestly, set boundaries, and remain yourself. A healthy relationship should not require you to become smaller. Forgive yourself for thinking their love could fix your insecurities. Perhaps you believed their attention would finally make you feel enough. When they chose you, you felt valuable. When they became distant, you questioned your worth. Their behavior began controlling how you saw yourself. This is why the ending may have felt like losing your identity. Now you must rebuild your value from within. Your worth cannot depend on whether someone stays, leaves, understands, or chooses you. People can fail to see something valuable. Their failure does not remove its value. You were worthy before they entered your life. You remained worthy while they mistreated you. You are still worthy now that they are gone. Repeat this truth until your actions begin to reflect it. Forgiving yourself does not happen through words alone. It happens through the way you treat yourself after the pain. You forgive yourself when you stop checking on the person who hurt you. You forgive yourself when you protect your boundaries. You forgive yourself when you rest, care for your body, and choose people who respect you. You forgive yourself when you stop returning to the same place, expecting a different result. Every healthy choice becomes an apology to the part of you that was neglected. Tell yourself, I am sorry I abandoned you to keep someone else. I will not do that again. This simple promise can become the beginning of self-trust. You may have lost trust in yourself because you ignored your intuition. You sensed something was wrong, but you stayed. Now you fear making another mistake. Self-trust is rebuilt slowly. Begin by listening to your feelings without letting fear control everything. Notice when something feels disrespectful, confusing, or unsafe. Do not immediately silence your discomfort just because you want someone to stay. Your emotions are not always perfect, but they contain information. Pay attention to patterns. Trust what repeated behavior shows you. Stop explaining away what continuously hurts you. Each time you honor your inner voice, you rebuild trust with yourself. Forgive yourself for the time you lost, but do not lose more time by remaining trapped in regret. Regret often feels productive because you believe that thinking about the past will prevent future mistakes. But once the lesson is clear, constant regret no longer teaches you anything. It simply keeps you in pain. Ask yourself what you learned. Perhaps you learned not to ignore inconsistency. Perhaps you learned that love without respect is not enough. Maybe you learned that apologies without change are only words. Maybe you learned that your peace is more important than keeping a connection. Once you understand the lesson, you no longer need to repeat the punishment. Buddhism teaches that everything can become a teacher, even pain. The person who hurt you may have taught you what you must never accept again. The relationship may have shown you where your boundaries were weak. The ending may have forced you to discover strength you did not know you had. This does not mean you should be thankful for the harm. It means you refuse to let the harm remain meaningless. Turn the pain into wisdom. You may also need to forgive yourself for the anger you feel. Anger often appears when you finally understand how badly you were treated. You may feel angry at them, but also angry at yourself for allowing it. Do not be afraid of this emotion. Anger can reveal where your boundaries were crossed. It can show you what was unfair, but do not build a permanent home inside anger. Listen to what it teaches, then release it. Anger says, "This should not have happened." Wisdom says, "I will not allow it to happen again." Use the energy of anger to protect your future, not destroy your present. Forgive yourself for still having moments of hope. Some part of you may continue imagining that they will return as a changed person. This hope may appear even when you know the relationship was unhealthy. Do not shame yourself. Hope was once connected to love, and it may take time to weaken. But you must learn to separate possibility from reality. Could they change one day? Perhaps. But you cannot build your life around a possibility. You must make decisions based on the person they have repeatedly shown themselves to be. You do not need to wait nearby in case they become better. Let their growth belong to them. Let your healing belong to you. You may fear that fully letting go means the relationship meant nothing, but something can matter and still end. You can honor what was real without denying what became painful. You can appreciate what you learned without returning to what broke you. Not every meaningful connection is meant to last forever. Some people enter your life to teach you love. Others teach you boundaries, self-respect, and the courage to leave. The ending does not erase the meaning, but the meaning does not require you to remain attached. Forgive yourself for believing that your love could save them. You may have thought that if you were patient enough, loyal enough, or understanding enough, they would change. But love cannot force someone to heal. It cannot create emotional maturity in a person who refuses responsibility. You can support someone, but you cannot do their inner work for them. Trying to save them may have slowly destroyed you. Now give that care to yourself. Ask what you need. Listen to your pain. Protect your peace. Become the person who no longer abandons you. The most important relationship you rebuild after heartbreak is the relationship with yourself. There may be days when you feel ashamed of how much you tolerated. Instead of asking, "Why was I so weak?" ask, "What was I afraid would happen if I left?" This question creates understanding instead of judgment. Maybe you feared loneliness. Maybe you believed no one else would love you. Perhaps you feared starting again. These fears can be healed. You can learn to enjoy your own company. You can discover that your life is not over because one relationship ended. You can create a future that does not depend on someone who could not value you. Forgive the frightened version of yourself. That person was trying to survive with the tools they had. Now you have better tools. You have awareness. You have experience. You know the signs you once ignored. You understand your boundaries more clearly. Use this growth with kindness. Do not turn wisdom into a reason to insult your past self. Turn it into a reason to protect your future self. One day, you may look back and feel compassion for who you were. You will understand why you stayed and why leaving felt impossible. You may see that you were not weak. You were learning. You were learning that love should not feel like constant confusion. You were learning that someone's potential is not the same as their character. You were learning that losing a person is sometimes necessary to stop losing yourself. These lessons were painful, but they changed you. Now allow them to free you. When the memory appears, do not say, "I cannot believe I allowed this." Say, "I understand now, and I choose differently." When guilt appears, remind yourself that guilt cannot change the past. Only present action can change your future. When sadness appears, let yourself feel it without believing it will last forever. You do not have to rush your healing, but you must stop standing in its way. Forgive yourself each day, especially on the days when you struggle. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. You would not tell a hurting friend that they were foolish for caring. You would remind them that they deserve peace. Offer yourself the same kindness. Say, "I did the best I could with what I understood at that time. Now I know more, and I will take better care of myself." This is not an excuse. It is a decision to grow without hatred. Buddhism teaches that you cannot heal hatred with more hatred. This includes hatred directed toward yourself. Self-forgiveness is not weakness. It is the courage to stop fighting the person you used to be. You and your past self are not enemies. That version of you carried you through the pain until you became strong enough to see the truth. Thank that version of yourself for surviving. Then release the shame. You do not need to carry it into every future relationship. You do not need to prove forever that you are no longer the person who stayed too long. Your new choices will prove it naturally. When you set a boundary, you heal. When you walk away from disrespect, you heal. When you choose peace over attention, you heal. When you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you heal. Healing is built through choices. Eventually, you will stop asking why you were not enough for them. You will understand that the real question was why you kept asking someone incapable of valuing you to decide your worth. You will stop wishing you had left sooner and become proud that you finally left. You will stop seeing your past only as wasted time. You will see it as a chapter that taught you how deeply you must protect your peace. The person may still appear in your mind sometimes, but the memory will no longer carry the same power. You will remember without blaming yourself. You will understand without wanting to return. You will see the relationship clearly, not through hope, anger, or shame. That clarity is freedom. Forgive yourself for holding on too long, but do not continue holding on because you feel guilty about the past. Release the person. Release the imagined future. Release the need for answers. Then release the version of yourself you keep blaming. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to become wiser without becoming bitter. You are allowed to trust again without forgetting what you learned. You are allowed to live peacefully after making mistakes. The past may explain you, but it does not have to control you. Let self-forgiveness become the final door you close behind you. They may have hurt you, but you do not have to keep punishing yourself for having loved them. You cared because your heart was sincere. You stayed because you hoped. You left because you finally understood. Now forgive yourself because you deserve to be free. The deepest healing begins when you stop saying, "How could I allow this?" and begin saying, "I will never abandon myself like that again." That promise is enough. You cannot rewrite the old chapter, but you can choose how the next one begins. Let it begin with compassion. Let it begin with self-respect. Let it begin with peace. Most importantly, let it begin without them living inside your mind. Getting someone out of your head does not mean pretending they never mattered. It means accepting that their place in your life has ended and refusing to let their memory control your peace. You may still remember them sometimes. A song, a place, or a quiet moment may bring the past back. This does not mean you are weak, and it does not mean you should return. A memory is only a memory. You do not have to turn it into another conversation, another hope, or another painful night. Buddhism teaches that thoughts come and go when we stop holding them. The more you fight a memory, the stronger it may feel. Instead, notice it, breathe, and let it pass. You can say, "This happened, but it is no longer happening now." The person may have hurt you, disappointed you, or made you question your value. But their behavior does not decide who you are. Their silence does not reduce your worth. Their rejection does not make you unlovable. Stop waiting for them to explain, apologize, change, or regret losing you. Your healing cannot remain trapped inside their choices. You must choose peace, even if they never understand the pain they caused. Remove the habits that keep bringing them back. Stop checking their life. Stop rereading old messages. Stop creating imaginary conversations where everything finally becomes clear. Every time you return to those habits, you give the past another place in your present. Bring your attention back to yourself. Build new routines, new goals, and new memories. Fill the space they left with a life that belongs to you. The more meaning you create in your present, the less power the past will have. Forgive yourself for holding on too long. You stayed because you cared, hoped, or believed things would become better. Do not punish yourself forever for the decisions you made before you understood the truth. You are wiser now. You know that love should not make you lose your peace. You know that apologies without change are only words. You know that someone's potential is not the same as their repeated behavior. Use this wisdom to protect your future, not to attack your past. Real freedom does not come when they finally regret losing you. It comes when their regret no longer matters. It comes when you stop checking whether they miss you. It comes when you no longer need them to recognize your value. One day, you will think about them and feel no need to return. You will remember what happened, but the memory will no longer control your emotions. You will understand that losing them was not the end of your life. It was the beginning of finding yourself again. They have already taken enough of your time, energy, and peace. Do not give them your future too. Get them out of your habits. Get them out of your hopes. Get them out of the conversations you continue having alone. Stop giving space in your mind to someone who no longer deserves a place in your life. Let them go without hatred. Let them go without waiting. Let them go without needing one final answer. Then return to yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your healing. Choose the life that is still waiting for you. They no longer deserve to live inside your mind. It is time to let them leave.